Inspiration.com.
A VHS cassette once changed my life. I rented Hellraiser 3 when I was 12 years old, back when you could do that. And I'd seen the movie in the theater, back when you could do that. And was excited. Ooh, here it is, Hellraiser 3. Okay, I want to watch this. Put it in, popped it in, was excited to watch it. And before the movie started, there was a commercial for something that immediately caught my attention. A documentary about the creator of Hellraiser, Clive Barker. And in this commercial, there were, obviously clips from the documentary, him talking about his writing and things. Now, as a 12-year-old who desperately wanted to be a writer when he grew up, this caught my attention because I had never heard a writer talk about his craft. So I, wrote down the address. You didn't go to a website back then. You wrote down an address, stuck some money in an envelope and sent it off. And you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait. Nobody sends you a tracking number for you to keep track of. Nobody, you don't know if they even got the check, if the mail lost it. You just have to hope that it goes through. And it did. And one day I opened up the mailbox and there is the box. And I opened the box and there is my copy of Clive Barker, The Art of Horror. Now, obviously, this is not the VHS, though I do still have that. This is my 6-film Book of Blood collection. Basically, if it was in the Book of Blood, then it is in this box set. The actual Book of Blood film, Lord of Illusion, Candyman, The Midnight Meat Train, Dread, and Clive Barker, The Art of Horror. Now, obviously, because this came off of a VHS, this is a bootleg. Not really. I did it myself. I transferred it back when you got like a VHS to DVD player. I transferred it, and but you can find this on YouTube. Enter Clive Barker, The Art of Horror. It's half an hour long. I recommend it to anybody who's interested in writing, especially if you're interested in horror fiction. Clive Barker, since the day that VHS cassette arrived in my mailbox, has been my primary influence as a writer. Even though now, today, my writing is very, very different from his. The subjects I tackle are very, very different from his. But there was a good 10 to 15 years where I desperately wanted to be him. Everything I wrote after I saw that VHS cassette was aping Clive for many years. And check out Manic Expression, a collection, in the link below. You'll find plenty of horror stories where it's like, well, okay, that's clearly a Clive Barker influenced thing. It's amazing. I was a different person at the end of watching that for the first time. I went in and, I'd been writing for years and years, since I was 5. And you wrote the things that you would write from between the ages of 5 and 12. I wrote, silly stories and comics and attempts at something scary or grown up when I didn't know at all what that meant. And I always did it, I think, with some trepidation. I was a kid. You never know when mom's going to start rifling through your stuff. And so I kind of held back a lot. And I'm watching this documentary, and Clive Barker says, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to create, however you want to create it, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is, what other people think of it. Somewhere out there, there is an audience for it. So just get on and do it. And it was like somebody gave me permission. It was like somebody took the leash off of me. And, you know, I tried writing a lot of stuff, you know, again, trying to ape Clive. Clive writes a lot of very erotic stuff. And when you're 15 and a virgin and know nothing about sex, the stuff you're going to write is going to be relatively cringeworthy. But I kept at it, and I kept trying, and I kept writing. Other influences came in as I got older. Other things got added to the stew. And through it all, nobody at all, of all the writers that I admire, ever really got through to me the way Clive did. Now, if you're looking for like behind the scenes stuff on, really this is like 92, on Hellraiser and Candyman and Nightbreed, those would be the movies that had come out by then based on his work. You actually don't get as much on the stuff that succeeded as you do on the stuff that failed. He talks more about Rawhead Rex and the failed movie, the first script he wrote, Underworld, another movie you can find on YouTube because nobody gives a shit about it, and even I haven't watched it. It's in my favorites on YouTube, has been for years, and I haven't watched it. You know, he talks more about that. And then he talks about the things that influenced him as an artist, a filmmaker, a writer. This guy does it all. He does everything. He expresses himself more freely than anybody that I have ever seen in my life. And in a way that I could only, still to this day, hope to aspire to. He really just bears it all. And sometimes literally. He also does photography. But this man, absolutely more than any other artist, filmmaker, writer, doesn't matter, influenced who I am. And to listen to him speak with such eloquence, not just about horror, but about, Greek mythology and literature, all these things that that sort of blew my little mind at 12. I didn't barely know how to process them. I didn't understand them, but I wanted to. And so I started paying attention. I started studying. I started listening more. And that is how you become a writer, is paying attention to the world around you and listening. And I have Clive Barker to thank for that. He got me out of my own head. He got me out of, just looking at, what was immediately in front of me, and start looking at the world and everything in it, and the beauty and the horror, and how the horror could be beautiful. I cannot recommend this enough. This is a 5-star rating. If I could give it 6, I would. Clive Barker, The Art of Horror, is one of my most treasured possessions, the VHS cassette. I urge all of you to go. You're on YouTube right now. You're watching my video. Finish this. Type in Clive Barker, The Art of Horror. You'll find it. Watch it. 30 minutes of your life, and if you are an aspiring artist of any kind, you will find something to inspire you.
Other worlds.
Sort of gave myself the challenge of, okay,